Good day, and welcome to Far Reaches. We are four people from similar parts of the world who have wound up chasing different dreams and living different lives. We are Richard, Raleigh, Joel, and Micah. Richard and Micah are from Southeast Oregon, from two small ranching communities known as Pine Creek and Plush. Raleigh and Joel are from Northeast Oregon, from the Pendleton area. We met through college, mutual friends, and heard of stories of each other. Somehow wound up being at the same place at the same time. See, we live and work in different parts of the U.S. now and have all taken different paths to get to where we are. We all talk separately and live far apart. So we decided we should try and talk more together. We hope you come along and enjoy. This meeting's being recorded, so. Hey, how you mama now? Welcome to the Far Reaches podcast. We are coming to you live and on video and recorded and audio. Basically, you can't hide, so just get with it. So this is the Far Reaches, brought to you this week and every week by our tremendously generous and beautiful friends at B&K Auto Salvage, right there in the Grand Ronde Valley. That's the Grand and Baker City. So stop in there, give them a howdy. We do have a new updated promo code from our good friends there. And so, if you're swinging by and you're going to do a little shopping with the gang, you can call it in and they'll have it ready to go, or you can roll in there and pick it up yourself. But the key is promo code Malarkey. So that's directly from the annals of the Far Reaches broadcast. So for promo code Malarkey, that gets you a discount on some pulled parts. And if you're selling scrap, which you should be doing, have Bo drop off a bin, you're going to get a little bit of a bump up in the price. So think about it. If you picked a day and you actually went and bought something and you were selling scrap, like it would damn near be free if you said, by the way, I'm a reacher, promo code Malarkey. So I can't recommend it enough, kids. It's basically free money. Just tell them you're a reacher. Yeah. So as you might notice, if you're watching, you got myself, Micah, we got Mr. Joel, who's back on East Coast time, and special hostess, Miss Amy McNamee, as we like to call her. She's going to be regaling us with some entertainment spotlight this week. She was the one who brought up the wonderful poem suggested the Cremation of Sam McGee. I thought, well, what better person to read that or recite it? I think, present it, regale us with her tales. But Amy, and since Raleigh's probably caught in a baler somewhere and Richard's probably in, I don't know, those plastic zip tie handcuffs and probably pepper sprayed by now, I think it's not going to get any better than this. And like Joel came on first, like, did we trade? We trade Raleigh and Richard for Amy? I'm like, yeah, I think we got a hell of a deal. So, there we go. So I think we probably
they're not even here to defend themselves.
Even if they were, I'd have to explain it to them anyways. What's it matter? So yeah.
I was gonna say they'd be confused, be like,
having like a little chart going on. Like
I didn't get replaced.
No, we couldn't replace Mr. Joel.
Well, we were talking about. I said hit record because we were having pretty good banter there. Where's?
Well, you said definitely prettier, and I said, well, yeah, but if that's a compliment, it technically is true. It's just not overly.
Yes, Micah, you're pretty. You get it.
Thank you. I am a pretty man. Yes, I've been accused of it. I have admitted. And,
did your hair today? Like you got your hair done?
Well, I had some meetings earlier. This stuff, like, it's not going anywhere. So
Still wearing an undershirt.
Yeah. I'm not wearing any pants or anything else, but I got a nice shirt on. So
have you considered ditching the undershirt?
No, I have not. Never.
Very mid-90s look, I feel like.
And I'm okay with that too. Yeah. I just turned 47 like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Like I'm totally good with being mid-90s. So yeah.
All right.
Days.
What's that, Aim?
As long as you know I'm insulting you.
Yeah, and I'd have to value your opinion before I cared if you insulted me. So yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, mid-90s. That's college.
I can find something else to do. I don't need to be insulted.
Yeah, exactly. So nobody wears undershirts anymore? Is that what you're saying?
Nobody.
Well, it's going to circle back. I guarantee
you. No, it won't. No, I don't know. Like
Big Daddy does.
I know.
I think that's a regional thing.
Could be too. Good point.
Shirts.
Yeah.
a long time ago, real early before it was cool, I guess. But it turns out, like everywhere else, that's just normal. You don't wear an undershirt. It looks ridiculous. Well, it doesn't look ridiculous, but you have to.
It looks aged, is what you're saying. Yeah. It's the equivalent of black socks and sandals.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Shirts. Just ask yourself a simple question: why are you wearing 2 shirts?
Why am I wearing underwear and pants? Like, it's the
You
same
bought
thing.
it. Fucking Mormon. You don't need the
Yeah, how do you have all those kids and have to wear those underwear, man? It takes you forever to get out of those things or into them. So, yeah, I don't get it, man. It must be like maybe you wash them every 2 weeks and then that's when you have them off. And so, I don't know. I don't know how I got down that track either, but still. Well, it keeps your regular shirt from getting all like you don't pit out, like it stays cool. It doesn't skank up, like you don't get ring around the collar, like all that stuff. Like there's advantages to wearing a undershirt. Like you think about it, like people did it back in the 1920s when you couldn't rub 2 dimes together. You still wore 2 shirts because it kept the other one nicer.
You didn't have a washing machine.
Exactly. Or I might have had it down to the cleaners and it's all starched and nice. Right. So I can wear it, pop it, put it back on the shelf. Yeah. Rotate it through. So a lot easier to.
Shirts are meant to be worn. So wear the fucker.
I am.
You don't need to protect it. It's like an old lady keeping the plastic
on the couch or something. Yeah, I'd hear that too. I'm more protected. I'm protecting myself, not necessarily my shirt. So yeah, it's just comforting. Like you get up, got a shower, you put your t-shirt on. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. It's an interesting observation though. So I'm always intrigued by, what's coming up next or what's going on, or, we might have another big band swing craze and then it's going to come back. So.
I mean, here to millennial. So I suggest you use it once in a while.
What's that?
Millennial. I suggest you use it for tips.
I keep losing the first part of your word. All I hear is for millennials. I suggest you use this. I don't know what you keep saying in the beginning part. So say like 3, 2, 1, blah.
Now let me turn off this fan.
Oh, that would be good. Oh, you're wearing pants at least. That's good. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Ask Big Daddy why he wears an undershirt. I think Amy hit on it too. It's a regional thing. So. Again, these are the riveting conversations that people literally get up at 5 a.m. Pacific time to listen to
on the far reaches. Yes.
If nothing else, like, man, I've got my shit together. I don't worry about this. I'm like, nothing. We make people feel better. That's no matter how that comes to be. Like either they agree or they're like, I'm not that simpleton. Then they're still happy, and that's what matters.
Right.
So,
you guys are the reason I drive around for an hour before work in the morning. Got to make it feel like I still have a commute.
Yeah, absolutely. 30 minutes out, 30 minutes back. And, it's like, good. Yeah, it's plus you feel much better about yourself when you're rolling the door too. Like I can really,
absolutely.
If those guys can window lick and get where they're at, I've got no problems whatsoever. So
I can get shit done today. I'm functioning.
Harumph. There you go. Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough. Gosh darn it, people like me. You just see psyching yourself up in the parking lot. Like yes, sir. No, she's back again. I don't know if it's some kind of weird drug deal or what, but it's here all the time. She's obviously doing something. Yeah, it's not good.
45 minutes talking to herself.
Yeah, I think she won this argument today, though. It's good.
Yep.
Okay. Well, with all that being said, I think we should kick off into our first sort of official segment, that being the reach around. And well, Amy.
Jeez, Micah. You would make me start.
Well, tradition would lend itself to that. Ladies first, and yeah. You are in kind of the center of everything. So yeah, you're the hub of the podcast. So
Wow.
you want to start this reach around off, that would be wonderful.
Oh, so oh, my reach around. What have I done this week, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's sort of the weekly update, like what's going on, Crouton?
Oh, plumbing project.
Oh,
yes. Yeah, little tiny trailer houses from the 1960s. They make for interesting plumbing, and I've learned a lot.
New language, probably. Like, I didn't even know I could cuss like that. That's impressive.
There's that, compression fittings, and no, it's been interesting. But I think as of 5:30 this evening, I have all of the leaks sealed off and can actually start moving into a new house. So I'm excited about that. And I've been spending more time. Had a little more free time in the last month or so than I've had. Got to spend some time this last weekend with my family and some pretty fun friends, and yeah, it's been good stuff.
Beautiful. I just keep waiting for like a faucet to erupt in the background. You're like, as of 5:30, it's late. As of 5:40, we've got water everywhere.
I will try not to drop the phone and include everyone in this. It might be as good as Richard getting his dog sprayed by a skunk. Yes.
Yeah, my experience with that stuff is just start over, and because eventually you'll have that many trips to the store, and because you just keep working your way back up the line, and you'll run into shit that somebody did because that's all they had. Then it breaks, and then you're like converting from 1/4 inch back to 3/4, and then they just do one of these because they had extra elbows and needed to put them in, and you're like, why would you? What? Anyways,
it's like you've been here.
I was the contractor. I bid that job back in '89.
Wow. You could have done better.
Probably started out somewhere, and that was the end of my plumbing career. So,
you know how much insulation these little old trailer houses have. It's pretty amazing.
Yes, you can pretty much look through the wall, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my gosh, it's been unique, but be it ever nice. So humble. Thank you. Thank you.
I like it. I love that green wall, the cool saddles. Yeah. It's a rump. Yeah. Very nice.
Yep.
It looks like plant life outside your window too. Is that a tree?
Yeah, it is a tree.
I call bullshit. I think that's like some kind of picture you stick up on the outside or something.
Stuck it to the window real fast before the podcast came up.
Yeah, it changes every week. Like, wait a minute, why is it snowing there?
It's actually a TV in the background.
Oh, very nice.
Exactly.
Is there fish going by one day? Like, do it. Yeah. That's funny.
What happened to Joel?
Yeah. So Amy,
you're back.
Yeah. What key on your right ear?
Oh, not a key. It's a bit.
Yeah. But it does look like a key. How we damn?
It does look like a key. It does.
One of those big dungeon keys.
Yeah, or a better handcuffs or something too. Yeah.
Haha. One never knows.
When you say it like that, I think we do. Yeah.
There's a bit is for horses.
Yep. So I have actually, you can see, I've got several.
There and over by the saddles, there's a couple more.
Yeah. So yeah.
Falcon. We've got some tremendous thunder lightning going on right here now. It's pretty cool. So you might pick it up. I doubt it, but if I go like this and pee a little, that's what's going on.
I was just saying, like last week I saw a little bit of rain. That was the first rain I've seen in 3 months.
Oh, I bet so.
Tonight. It's cool.
Very bueno.
Send some our way.
Tremendous reach around, Amy. Very informative, even pleasurable. Very nice. Thank you. Yes. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I said, it's getting freaking Western. Yeah. So I think everything's still running. Mr. Joel, I've been craving one of your reach arounds for a while now, good sir. Lay it on us.
Well, as you can see through the imagery that I'm back in New York.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a different lifestyle. You got to get used to it. I don't have my pickup anymore. I miss my pickup. I'm looking to sell my pickup, maybe, potentially. Had it for 2 months.
Pretty early for a midlife crisis, but it strikes everybody differently. So
no, I'm just gonna buy a car every time I need one for a month.
I like it. Yeah, leasing or renting crap is for the birds.
Yeah, so I'm back here trying to get used to, it's a different lifestyle. I'm in the apartment a lot more than I was in Pendleton. It's tough.
Yeah.
Tough to tell you what, man.
New York's gotten a little bit crazier even since you've been gone. So
it's actually a pretty good vibe.
How's the vibe there right now? I'm curious.
It's all right. I went to the Comedy Cellar like a week or so ago, last weekend. The lineup wasn't that great, but this next coming Saturday, I'm going to go see Louis C.K.
Oh, cool.
He's playing at the Hulu Theater. Never seen him in person, so that's gonna be awesome.
That's good. He's back.
Yeah, I also got tickets to Shane Smith and the Saints. Saw them at what's that thing in Pendleton? It was the Jackalope.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Excellent show.
They do a good job. They're tight.
They're coming through New York at a small venue, so that's gonna be fun. But that's not until like November.
Oh, they'll be here pretty quick though.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's just checking out the neighborhood, some bars, seeing what's available.
Is there people checking papers on the corner? What's going on with all that stuff?
I've been to a couple places where they check your vaccine card. Like the comedy show, you had to bring it with you. So I knew that going into it. But like I went to a bar on the Upper East Side and they asked for, excuse me, you had to be vaccinated. I didn't know that going into it. And luckily I'd taken a picture of my vaccine card, but I don't know how I feel about that. Like on one, like I don't really care because I did get the vaccine. And on the other hand, it's like, for people like you, Micah, like you didn't get the vaccine, right? So it'd be like, what about him? He doesn't want the vaccine. You're going to exclude him from this place. I think conflicted on that. You hear me?
Yeah. Did he go away?
No.
Micah?
I thought Micah was just thinking really, really hard about what I just said.
No, I think he's gone. How do you? I bet the lightning got him.
Look at him thinking. But anyway, yeah, that was my week, Amy.
I struggle with it. I've been vaccinated, but I wouldn't want anybody asking for my card to get into a venue.
Yeah, I don't know why do you care? I don't know why I care.
Or why would anybody else care? It's up to me to protect myself, and out beyond that, who cares? Well, yeah. I know they're talking about closing Oregon down. I have some friends that work for USDA that they're not very happy about having to mask up to go in their office.
Yeah, I just saw Governor Brown today announce that Mike is there. Are y'all still going? Yeah. Brown announced today that mask mandates are coming back to Oregon.
Yeah. And I think she's going to have an uprising on her hands if that happens. I keep losing power. We know. Poor guy.
Let me text Micah. He just texted us to say, are we still going?
Yeah.
And where'd you go, Micah?
He sent me a text that said, I keep losing power.
Wonder if we're still being live streamed.
I wonder. Can you see live stream comments on your feed?
Yeah, I'm looking at it live. You're on. All right, let's keep this shit going.
Okay.
What Are you getting on fire there? What's going on where you are?
No, actually, you're still on. That was Spoon. No, not bad this year. It seems like everyone is so fire conscious that anything around here has just been jumped on immediately and everybody's put it out. And that's been not necessarily agencies, well, to a point, but mostly just the local guys. So we've been, knock on wood, pretty fortunate. But you know, we still have another month and a half of fire season too. So
knocking on wood, that's very flammable.
Yeah, that too. And I'm not sure it's wood in this trailer house.
It looks like wood. It tastes like wood. It's wood.
So are you in a different neighborhood than you were before, Joel?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's like, so if you were to look at a map of Brooklyn, Prospect Park is very prominent in that. And so I lived near the park in my old apartment, but it was like on the north side of it, northeast corner of it. And then, which is like a pretty shitty neighborhood. It's called Crown Heights, essentially.
Okay. It
Crown
sounds
Heights.
Shitty. Yeah.
So if you're ever reading the news,
are.
you look at the New York Post and it's like there were 9 shootings. One of them was probably in Crown Heights at least. But then you go northwest, kind of south, northwest south. It's a completely different neighborhood. Yeah, it's like a bunch of young families and
Undershirts.
a lot of undershirts.
Sorry, I had a power outage a couple times, so my internet had to restart, and it was dark, scary. I touched myself, and we're back. So, wait a minute, did I say all that out loud?
Signs.
That was all out loud. Damn it! Yeah. So,
I felt when you went away, I sort of felt a little bit like Garth Algar when Wayne quits.
So, what a tremendous drop in that is. Hilarious, dude. Yeah. And I didn't know if it was still going or not. I thought it might still be rolling. I was hoping.
Of course.
But yeah. She's looking at me. Yeah. No. Not to drag the conversation back to where I left, but you said, lightning struck. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah. Just happened again when you're explaining the story.
It says my internet connection is unstable, much like me. So I don't know why. Like I'm literally 4 feet from my router and I've got like Cox cable, like 2.9 gigaband, whatever. I could probably run 3 TV stations with it. So yeah. Anyways. It's still jittery.
Yeah.
Okay.
On to your reach around, Micah.
Well, I wanted to get more information from Joel too about what he was thinking about. Not that I want to delay my reach around, just saying, but
what's
his
going
thoughts
on
the vaccine and the passports and that stuff. I know we're going to probably touch on that later too. And speaking of touching it later, here comes Raleigh. So
yeah, I actually promised several people that one of the things about the vaccines, and maybe we could do this after your reach around, but the reach around, I don't know, we'll find out what you're doing anyway. The vaccine, so I have a vaccine, and the media really wants people to get the vaccine to the point of mandating it in a lot of institutions. And every time they talk about the people who aren't getting it, it's pretty negative. It's, they usually say it's like right-wing Trump voters, even though statistically they're ignoring for obvious political reasons, they're ignoring groups of people, demographics that are not getting the vaccine either for their own reasons,
the
which are legitimate.
Tremendous outcry and just absolute dismissal of it prior to when Trump was still working on it, quote unquote. Everybody on that side of the aisle, sweet Jesus, that is enough. Enough. He took and cut up a fancy pair of his red boxers.
Sorry, Kate Brown said if I'm inside, I have to wear one of these fucking things.
Oh, good. Well, Law and Order every time. That's you. Yeah. So
I only get to do that for a couple more days. Right.
What's the difference? Like, shit, are you kidding me? What? I mean, oh, well, it's Wednesday. I'm not safe yet. Thursday. Yeah. So
like putting up a chain link fence to stop mosquitoes.
There you go. That's the same thing. Yeah. Tie down strap on a load of dirt. Yeah.
But regarding the vaccines,
I prefer to call it immunization as well. So anyways.
All the media, whenever they talk about people on the right not getting the vaccines, it's very negative coverage. It's like they're insulting, and they're authoritarian about how they demand it. And that is my explanation of why so many Republicans aren't getting vaccines, because they don't want to be told what to fucking do. So acknowledging that still leaves a question of, I think statistically you're safer if you get the vaccine. So why don't you get the fucking vaccine?
Because I don't buy that. I don't buy your premise about statistically I'm safer. So you're talking about, I call it an immunization. It's not a vaccine. Like you get vaccinated against measles or polio. You get you get this semantics. For like, it's like semantics. A flu shot for one. And they're finally admitting now, like, it doesn't really fucking work anyways. Really is what everybody's saying. That you can still get other variants. You can still get this one. You can still pass it along. So if you look at the numbers, all the numbers that we've been given that we can look at, if in fact I do get this stuff, and sometimes I don't even know that until you stick a swab up my ass and then tell me that I'm sick. Even if I do get it, I still have well over a 99% chance of surviving. If I do, in fact, contract this thing, which I think I've already had anyways. So that's step one. Like, even if I get it, basically you can say 99% chance of coming through this thing. Not saying I won't get sick, not saying I won't shit my pants or maybe cough up a lung, but all said and done, well over 99%. We're looking at a vaccine that's still in test mode or an inoculation, whatever you want to say, that is doing some stuff we've never even talked about really, or not done a whole lot of. And so I don't see the upside in my mind. I see more potential risk in taking that thing and put it again in my body than my natural immune system, which has been battling this stuff for eons and is encoded into me, that if I haven't got it by now and died, probably okay. I'm not saying I won't get sick, but like just doing the math, I'm like, I'm not buying it. And then when it's paid for by the government, that makes my spidey senses go up. When you're bribing people or putting them into a lottery to get it, that makes it go up. If you have it, congratulations, you're safe. What are you worried about my dumb ass for? Then I should have been dead a long time ago. So how does what I do impact you in the least bit of way if you have any confidence in you? So, I still equate it to like me putting on suntan lotion so you won't get a sunburn. That's how that computes in my mind of why this thing is there. And all these, the way they're talking about people, like, thank God, I wish I was a sophisticated vaccinated person like it was Obama's birthday this past weekend. How lucky I would be then. But I'm not a sophisticated vaccinated person. So I'm just me. But again, it's about the choice. And if it made any mathematical sense, I would probably go do it. Like, man, if I get sick, I've only got a 50-50 chance of living through it. Okay, I'll probably go get jabbed for that. But when it's well over 90, even for my old fat ass, even if it's 80, I'm still like, okay. It just doesn't add up to me in any way, shape, or form. So that's where I am the way I am. Ralph?
You're so wrong.
Thank you so much.
I'm just kidding.
I wish I was sophisticated. That sophisticated vaccinated line, did anybody else hear that?
I did.
People were talking about the Obama birthday party. It was scaled back to what? Instead of 700, it was 650. And the lady was literally talking on CNN. She's like, well, thank goodness these are all sophisticated vaccinated people. So it's going to be okay. Now, Sturgis is going to be a super spreader. There's just no way around it. And I'm like, they're all outside. They're riding motorcycles in the open air. Believe me, there's shit at Sturgis that's killed COVID from 20 yards. It is the least of your worries there. That's why you go.
I think the argument, the rebuttal to that would be, all right, let's say I am vaccinated. I'm hanging out with, if I was going to hang out with 100 people, if all 100 of them were vaccinated, it'd be less likely that they would spread it to me and have a breakthrough infection instead of hanging out with 100 unvaccinated people. Oh, damn, I can't say that in good conscience. I think it's all bullshit.
I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that honesty. Like, I think our natural immunity is probably has been proven to be better than the studies I've seen than anything for you to get the inoculation.
No, that's not true. That's
like
not
if
true.
You're
going to have a better time with COVID if you've had
it. If you've already had it and you're through it now, there's no reason, zero, to ever think about getting it now.
Fair.
For sure. Fair. I'm not saying like and I can't deny that maybe if I did get that, it's on a scale of 1 to 10, if I didn't get vaccinated and I got the Rona and it's impacted me, it would be an 8 or a 9. And if I hadn't got vaccinated, or if I did get vaccinated, it might be a 6 or 7. If I hadn't, it's probably an 8 or a 9. I don't know how to quantify that for sure. I don't think anybody does. Again, we're still pretty early in all this idiocy as well. So that's the other thing. I'm like, it's not been out that long. Like, why am I lining up first in line to do that? Like, I went in the military. I don't know what they gave me, what they took. So I'm not inclined to go volunteer for early shit with that ever again anyways. So I just, if it was something that had a much higher incident of putting you on your ass, and then what we've seen, like, and then how's all this quote now? It's a pretty catchy little name, breakthrough. Like, that means your shit didn't work. It's summertime. What are people worried about getting any kind of cold for right now? Like, doesn't that tell you something too? Like, that's not really adding up in my feeble brain either. I might get hay fever, but if you're getting stomped down by a respiratory thing in the middle of summer and you've got a vaccination against it, I think you might get the receipt and get your money back. So it's just, or if you're worried about me, again, how close do I have to be to you to infect you with anything, for one? And like, it doesn't live outside very long, especially in the sunshine. I just don't get it, man. It just doesn't all add up to me, Joel. I know, and it's, if somebody wants to get it, more power to you. I'm not going to judge you if you do or you don't. If you want to wear a mask, I don't care. I mean, I might giggle and under my, like, I see people riding by outside from my office window on a scooter with a mask, no helmet. I can't make that up. I wish I was.
You know what? The government is making this. The problem is the governmental organizations like the CDC have this entire time, they constantly fuck up. And I get the sense that right now we're strongly trending in a direction to where it's looking more and more like the vaccine isn't all it was cracked up to be.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it was easy to write off at first, but more and more data is coming out. And the general narrative is starting to change. You get like outbreaks where it's like the majority of the people had the vaccine. I think, I don't know, after a few weeks, that might be pretty hard to defend. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It's crazy times, man. And it's unprecedented, I think, in my mind. When the CDC talking about the mortgage moratorium, like, you can't foreclose on anybody now. Like, my brain almost fell out of my head when I heard that. I'm like, they have zero authority. Everybody admits they have zero authority. It's completely unconstitutional. They're like, yep, but we're just going to keep doing it because who cares? And you're like, I'm still paying the mortgage. If I'm a evil overlord landlord, I'm still paying those mortgages. I just can't collect the money because fortunately I rented to somebody who doesn't have a job now, or rather stay on unemployment than go find a job, so again,
I think people aren't as shocked. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There you go. Amy, you have some interesting insight on this, probably, given your day job.
Well, yeah. What impetus does a lender have to make a mortgage loan in this environment if you can't foreclose on the damn thing?
Great point.
I mean,
Also, yeah, like why would I even get into that business?
We're gonna shut down the entire mortgage lending business. If
great
that,
point. Like I'm not loaning you any money if I know you can't get money back. Like great point. I hadn't thought about that.
That you have no collateral. Why would you make an unsecured loan?
Instantly. Yeah. Exactly. So you're saying they're against ownership? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I think Richard just got out of jail too. He's coming. Yes.
How about you with the mortgage originators? They're big enough players that the government will make them whole.
They have a lobby. That's for sure. That's the
is.
only thing that's saving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some smaller ones that might not make that. I mean, they might benefit from the overall lobby, but yeah, you look at the parallels between
Eastern Oregon banks, maybe
perhaps rural things such as that. Yes. Just saying. Yeah. I don't know. The parallels between us and Cuba right now are staggering. I mean, there's still nobody here leaving for Cuba yet with a raft of bleach bottles, but there's a couple people I'd like to send that direction. Don't get me wrong, but sweet Lord. Yeah, I put up, Richard shared a post the other day on the Facebook. I left on the Facebook because people tell me I'm old. About the doctor at the Indiana school board meeting, just kind of like laying shit out pretty plain and simple. And I was like, all I said is like, just give this a listen, just chew on this for a while. That's been hammered on for not fact checked and this or that, or not having, what was it, not fully contextual or something like that. Like, I don't know what kind of context you need. Like, and if anybody, like one of my buddy's sons shared it, and he's like, well, Facebook's all pissed off about this, so it must be true. So then he shared it, and it's just like, I looked at the number of views, and it's like over 5 million in 2 days or something.
Jim Jordan just shared it today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, I love that guy to death. He's the best, dude. He's the best. He's right up there with like Dan Crenshaw, I think. But yeah, like he's not. And the guy was made a lot of sense when he talked through. I was like, that makes sense. I used to sell vaccines, immunology. That's kind of ringing in my brain. I'm like, okay. Some of the stuff, like he made the comment, like the virus is extremely small. It can go through a face covering, and some people are like, well, they attach to water droplets, and then it won't go through. Like, but not always. Like, and you can't guarantee that. Like, it's what happens to a water droplet. Like, it might like even disconnect when it gets to the contact and keep on going. So yeah, he just made some good comments. I thought he had some really well thought out things he was talking about. I was like, cool, but it's not, doesn't have lacks context, I think was the fact checkers deal.
Yeah, my warning had something to do with masks, and like he wasn't even talking really about masks.
No,
it was a good video, but their rebuttal to that is always something along the lines of the experts seem to disagree.
Yeah,
they're talking about the CDC, and I'm like, well, there's also experts that clearly disagree with your experts.
Yes.
But somehow we've anointed as a society, not even as a society, there's the left has anointed a certain faction of these experts, which is the CDC, which is increasingly becoming an embarrassment, even if they are correct. They're not messaging anymore.
They have like zero credibility with anybody at this point, I think. Like they just constantly shot themselves in the dick, and because they turned it political. And sorry, I think that's what they've done. So,
like somebody pointed out, they didn't even get, it was in the Atlantic today, like they didn't even get the vaccine passport part right. That card is too fucking big to fit in your wallet. Like it is an awkward sized card. Like it's too big for my pocket. It's just it's emblematic of everything that the government has done wrong. They didn't think anything through at all.
Oh yeah, totally. It's I'm sorry, I'm distracted because Richard says he's muted and can't show his video, and I'm like, pretty sure that's on your side. We always have issues with Richard, especially when we're live. So yeah, I don't know. Rawls, what do you got? You're I can tell you're a little frothy there.
I don't know. I've watched that video as well, and I thought one of the interesting points that he made was how that this is not a virus that's elusive to only humans. It's got an animal carrier in it.
Mm-hmm.
The CDC and whoever's in charge of all the vaccinations, act as if there's some sort of an end game if we get vaccinated. And
that was the story, wasn't it?
yes, and with that little tidbit of information that guy spoke about there, where's the goalpost going to get set from here? Because I mean, there is no, this isn't polio. We're not getting rid of it. It's not going away.
Exactly.
Like, so that has to kind of, if you sit back and think about that, like, okay, well, if we all got a shot and it went away, that would be great, but it doesn't, and we know this. And
It never has.
there are people vaccinated in hospitals right now dying, and that is true. So where are we headed with this? I mean, we got Kate Brown posturing around trying to get everybody to mask up again and do all this. And the problem with the politicizing that I see is it's become more of a way to affect our economy than it is to actually cure or help keep from spreading this disease, which I don't see it going away. It's gonna, especially where it can go from humans to other animals to back and forth. Like, you're not gonna get away from it. So what's our end game here?
Yep. I think we've all talked about this since day one, dude. Yeah.
That's such a good point, that it is not about the disease, it's about the economy. Because why else would they be passing $1.2 trillion a day, and then next week it's gonna be 3.5 trillion on top of the 6 trillion already printed? That is, it's just not gonna work.
My question is, who stands to gain from collapsing the greatest economy in the world?
China?
Billionaires.
Well,
obviously.
Yeah.
Probably. Rich people.
Oh, the money.
The what?
Follow the money. Yeah.
Follow the money.
Hard to get around that one.
I was gonna say, like, just take on as much debt as you can right now, because it's pointless.
Basically.
Borrow it. Yeah.
Say again, Richard?
It's cheap. That's cheap.
That's cheap, yeah. Your volume's a little down, Richard, when you come in.
Sorry. I don't know how to fix that.
Now you're better.
Put it closer.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, farther away.
Somewhere. I don't know where the hell. I've had a busy day.
You look great without your lid on, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look distinguished.
I got to dispense with one thing before we move on.
Certainly, sir.
That picture, my God, a symmetric picture to the left-hand side of a symmetric curtain system. And I don't know even what the hell is going on in the left-hand corner, but that one picture is a completely, that's like, that's almost meta. That's so symmetric.
I absolutely love how this affects Richard. Like this. The rest of us have been sitting here for 15 minutes and we're like, oh, it's just Micah. Richard is just infatuated with this. This is awesome.
I actually don't even know what he's talking about.
This picture over here is a Bev Doolittle. So that's why it's really scrolling with your brain, because it is symmetrical. And then that one's just a Ryder Cup poster. But they were sitting over in the corner. We got Superhound showing off like Vanna. So yeah, they were sitting in the corner. And when I fired up my computer, the camera was zoomed out one more than it usually is. And I was like, oh, cherry. So I left it and I had to put them up. Yeah, just because the pillows are behind my chair. You can't see the pillows, I don't think.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
we actually had pre-podcast conversation about this screwing with your head.
You reminded me of Joel that one week, and you were like, you know what, just fuck your pillows, because he said that about my green door that one time, and I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Dietz Murdoch still laughs about that every time. Yeah, just fuck your green door. Yeah, he thinks that's the funniest thing he's ever seen on Facebook.
Yeah. Hey, you posted a picture of your house on Facebook, right? What did you do?
I painted the front door like a shamrock green kind of color. And you were just like, whatever. Then you're like, fine. Like, you know what? Just fuck your door. And then, like, I thought Dietz was just going to shit his pants laughing. He still laughs about that every time I see him. Where's old Joel? You see your green door? And he just laughs every time. Like, that's why Facebook was invented for Dietz, was to see that green door and hear you say that. Thank you, Brown. Yeah. That's the best thing. So you thank you, Richard, for noticing. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate all the work you go into every week.
That's kind of what I do. Yeah. At the end of the year, I'll put together a collage of all the screen clips of just my background. It's sort of like that movie, The Time Machine, you know, when he's watching the mannequin across the street. Yeah, it'll be like that. So there's your obscure reference for the week.
I'm sorry to crash the party.
We were just making up cool shit about you. So
good.
Glad you made it. But
where are you at?
Yeah.
Is there overcast there, Richard? You got some rain coming in?
Smoky.
Oh, smoke. Okay.
Yeah. So far we've had a reach around from Amy and Joel, and we were getting to me, and then Rawls and Richard came on too. So you guys missed the best reach around already. You'll have to go back and see it when we recorded it. So yeah, just saying. Yeah. You got Amy when she just is kind of quiet and
just shaking my head.
The inner grr is just.
I thought I was gonna. Richard, what are you doing? Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah.
Give
us your
sitting in the smoke.
Yeah, give us a reach around.
Now, see, Amy's got some nice wood behind her. So nice slick fork modified Wade. So
yeah.
Bear trap.
Oh, two. I didn't see the other one.
Yes.
High candles.
Old school.
Side saddles.
It must be for
Side
the
saddles
mountain
on the wall. Only half a saddle. Is that a side saddle?
They just cut them in half.
No.
That's why it's a side saddle. Yeah.
They're on a saddle.
That's why they sit like that.
Yeah.
Half saddle.
Them they're high country saddles. Not for us flatlanders.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them will go to Mongolia with me. How's that?
Oh, Jesus.
That would be unique.
That's a good word for
Mongolia
that.
and a Hamley.
I have a very nice Vaquero style Wade that you can take. It's pretty light.
Yeah. I've got one too, and no, they're not.
You're way too skinny though for my candle size. You'd have to place a long distance call. You'd have to place a long distance call just to Dally.
You see, kids, back in the day, we had what's called landlines, and some people were considered long distance, i.e., they didn't live next door, they weren't on your party line, and so you had to get charged extra for that because it was so long away. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Remember when we just had the cards where you have to put in the 16-digit number so you could make a long distance?
There was like 1-800-collect. There was like these programs. Everybody had like the friends and family. You could get an 800 number or just dial 1-652-879. Yeah, it was. Like, why don't you just call collect? Or there was like after hours, between 9 and 11 East Coast time or whatever it might be. You could do that, and just what a mess.
We're laughing about that, but Raleigh's still on that system.
He's on a party line. He's like, yeah, Mary Beth. Yeah, you seen Sammy? Connect me to the store, please. For sure thing, Raleigh.
When Raleigh comes into town for supplies, he also stops at the gas station, picks up a calling card.
So you're kind of onto something there, actually, Joel. Yeah. Out where I've got some cattle, there's a cabin that we'll stay in when we calve sometimes, and along that road is a 2-wire set of poles going down that road, and it is a landline. However, there are little boxes that you can periodically along that you can plug a phone into and talk to. There's no dialing out. I mean, it's
live, basically
party line, that's live, and that's no joke. There is still some old-fashioned communication around.
It could be handy. It could be
absolutely
damn handy.
No, it is if you need to get out to someone from down there. And the Berkmeyer family actually still uses it all the time.
Oh, cool. Like their own private CB radio landline.
Yeah, and it runs 15, 20 miles roughly.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, if there was like a sex line worker on it at all times, you plug in your phone to this random pole in the middle of nowhere. Have a little phone sex.
He's like, oh yeah, that's the way. That baby. Turns out she's like making biscuits or something. Oh yeah, look at that. Hear that
Jerk
flopping
off.
around. Yeah.
Jerk off standing up in your cowboy hat. Just next to a phone pole.
You do live in Brooklyn.
You come walking in from cow camp, you might be a little, I think you probably find a knothole first for it. What did you say, standing up and jerking off with my cowboy hat? That way it don't blow off anymore. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, like.
That's a completely different Robert Service poem.
Yes, it is.
Finishing on the wheat.
Yeah, that was the later years. Things were getting a little freeform. So yeah. Yeah, the corruption of Grandma McGee is what that was called.
He wrote that after it became a poet laureate.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Don't hang up yet. I know you're cooking pancakes, but what are you wearing? Yeah, like.
Well, let me see. What is the topic? What happened? 2 weeks. Been busy. Went to Klamath or went to Bend. That was exciting. Brought the second half of the Buttes cattle off the Buttes. Still 2 months early. That's depressing. Real estate's going good. I have a lot of outlaws that I represent, and I don't know how you could do real estate without interesting people. If you just had normal workaday people, I think that it would be really slow. But I have some really colorful characters in my clientele list that I'm thankful for each day, because I gotta tell you, there's some creative thinkers.
Yes.
And I learn a lot from them, so it's been great.
Technically, that's all legal and proper. So here we go. Yeah.
Yes. So, I'm fortunate to live in a part of the world that has a wide and diverse, very exciting cast of characters, and thankful for that every day. So,
what makes them exciting? Are you talking about like purple hair? Or
they run a party line phone sex company. Anyways, yeah.
For rural agricultural workers.
No, I think it's just this interesting thing. People, what is it? Robert Service does have a poem that's called "The Men That Don't Fit In," and it's one of his best poems. And there's a lot of people that per stanza antithesis
they are the antithesis
of that poem. And when you have to do any cash or business transactions with them, they live up to their reputation. It makes for fun real estate.
And guess what? They're going to attract more fun people like that. So I think you're going to. That's the beautiful part about that. I see that self-perpetuating. That's what excites me.
I'm happy to have that niche as a real estate agent. That I welcome anybody that has off the wall ideas. And so
making you see like, wait a minute, Steve, I've got a guy you should call right away. They'd be like, perfect. Yeah.
But no, it's a great thing. Today I went to oppose this is the new thing that I find disturbing, is now when there's public forums, it's just a bunch of billboards in like a semicircle, and every billboard has a little designated representative next to it, and they tell you about their little scope of the project. There's no public back and forth debate anymore. And this happened when we went to Elko to the BLM. There was 4 BLM meetings across the country to rewrite the BLM federal grazing permits.
Mm-hmm.
There's not an open forum where there's back and forth, like where they actually have to defend themselves. They only present, the new thing is just to present information in the context of the little board that you stand next to. And then if you have any questions beyond that, then you say, well, that's not my scope of expertise, so you'll have to go visit with this person. So I went thinking that there'd be like a public comment section, but those don't exist. But luckily we have some really creative thinkers in Lake County. So somebody hired a camera crew to stand outside the function and record everybody's thoughts as they're walking out. So anyways, that'll be interesting to see how that manifests later on. But this is a new thing in America, and it's amazing how I subscribe to the idea of healthy conflict. And I think the more that we eliminate healthy conflict, the worse we are becoming as a society. And these organizations that anytime an organization does something that may not resonate well with everybody, they do this kind of subterfuge and limit public debate. And because it cuts down on the unpleasantness of people that don't like your position. So you don't have to engage in real conversation because it's very all tightly controlled. And I see us in our society moving more towards that. And I think I don't think it's a strength. I think it's a weakness.
No, that's dangerously weak. That's dangerously weak. That doesn't stand up to any scrutiny. I mean, it's like, so back when I worked for Department of Ag, we would do, when you had a CAFO or confined animal feeding place, when a new one would come along, there was both written public comment and people could come. You'd have to have a hearing, like it's in statute. Like you must have a hearing, you must advertise it for this many days in the paper, blah blah blah. And everybody signs up or doesn't. They get like a minute or 2 minutes or whatever to read or tell their opinion. And I would sit there, and some people would just straight up motherfuck you, like just because you're the Department of Ag guy. Other people would read stats about a dead seal in Portugal, like, thank you, it's in the record, and they'd send it in and whatever. Like you had to take it, like that's part of the process. And so it kind of makes it a little stronger. And it was actually kind of entertaining to watch that process too, of people putting their thoughts together, going to the meeting, like congratulations. So yeah, now you got a little 6th grade science project. You stand by your board of like my position in me or whatever that is. Like how weak sauce can that be?
Well, I did a lot of due diligence and research into the company before I went to it. And I spent 45 minutes this morning having coffee with one of the representatives that came down and visited with him. And we all both figured out we were really nice guys, but neither of us were going to probably budge on our position. Mm-hmm. And that was okay. So it's nice to have that public, that personal back and forth. But I find it interesting that people are immersed in their corporations, don't even understand what all their corporation is into. Like some people just, and I think this is probably fine in the long run, but some people have no understanding of what the corporation they does in the grander scope of things. And I just find that amazing. Like I worked in oil companies and like, there's just stuff you don't know because the oil industry is highly top secret on a lot of stuff. But generally, I was pretty aware of everything that publicly facing Halliburton was doing. I was aware of the board members and who they were, what their grand things. Worked for Baker Hughes, worked for Schlumberger, which is a French company, and very aware of all the little things that they had their fingers in, because I find corporations interesting. And when you talk to people that are administrative people in a corporation, find it shocking how little they know about the company that's writing them a paycheck every year or every week or 2 weeks or every
very
month.
siloed for sure.
Yeah. And so that can't be a healthy thing. I mean, I don't see the tactics that corporations and the government are using as healthy for the overall country.
No. Nope.
So
we concur. Yes.
Okay. That's done with my reach around. So
that's all I have to say about that.
Well, as someone that works in a big corporation, I thought what you said was really interesting, because I don't usually think of my bank as the board of directors are running it, that just struck me just now as interesting, because those are the people running the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
The board,
most likely. Yeah.
But you never think about that, and it so much as that was true about banking. Like I can't know everything people do. I know basically the lines of business and generally what they do, but if you really dig down into a bank and what within global banking and markets line of business, and then we're going to look at global markets sub line of business, and we're going to look at a third sub market, specifically maybe metals, Then you go to the gold desk, and there's, I don't know. And then on that desk, you have several different positions of people doing something. And it gets a lot more exotic than that. There's like, synthetic products that people do as long as gold, right? I have no idea what my bank does, and then the compliance department is supposed to manage that. Not manage it, but like
at least be aware.
be aware and point out the
making
risks
sure they're
of doing
compliant.
it.
Yeah.
But there's so much of like, it goes back to like, there's not a person on earth that can make a pencil. You need so many different people and their expertise to come together to build the pencil. Whereas a bank, I just do my job. Like everybody else, as long as everybody else is kind of doing their job, at the end of the day, make up a bank. Anyway,
that's deep. Yeah.
Streaming thoughts. I'm gonna use the
By
restroom.
Joel. Deep thoughts by Joel. Yeah. Rawls, before you fall asleep, you want to give us a reach around?
Sure. Yep, nothing's really changed. Just still putting out hay, irrigating, putting out little fires, flat tires, all that kind of stuff.
Little fires and flat tires. The Raleigh Bixby story.
Nothing really new. Kel is looking more pregnant. That's
radiant is the term you're looking for. Yes,
that's what I was looking for. Let's see. I've been doing a little bit of fishing here lately. That's been kind of fun.
Holy cow!
Turns out that if you get your ass out of bed at 4:30 in the morning and go to Willow Lake and you pay attention, you can catch some kokanee, which are basically landlocked sockeye, and they're absolutely delicious. So
they're absolutely delicious.
Yeah. So in my spare moments, when I'm not haying right now, I go do a little fishing.
See, that's new. We just had to drag it out of you a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's easy to talk about the monotony of day-to-day stuff, but really there's not a whole lot going on other than pastures are getting tight and getting low on feed. We're getting to that time of the year where we're trying to see if we're going to squeak by to get them in here this fall and get the calves ripped off and have fall feed and hopefully not start feeding by November. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's just it's that year, and it's really, really stressing a lot of folks, and it's hard on the hay market right now. I've got people begging for hay, and I can't let go of hay, and it's just it's an interesting year. It'll be fun to look back. I shouldn't say fun. It's probably not going to be fun for some people's, but it'll be interesting to look back on all the events that have gone on, because this year is such an anomaly for how you manage and strategize to get through it, and definitely a huge learning lesson. So
should we tell Joel that he wasn't on mute when he was going to the bathroom, or just let him keep thinking that he was?
No, I was actually mesmerized by Raleigh's update there. It was pretty good.
So I think Joel's saying he just had his own reach around while Raleigh was giving us the reach around.
I was listening. I knew I was on mute. That was a good update.
But no, that's kind of what's been going on in our world.
How do they do more work? I feel like fishing is more work. On your downtime, you go work more.
Actually, it's when you're at the head of Willow Lake at 5 o'clock in the morning and the sun's coming up and nobody else is on the lake, it's pretty relaxing.
That would be very inviting. Yeah.
And the irony in it is I've lived, as the crow flies, I don't live more than a mile from the lake. And there's been years when I haven't even been to the lake. And it's such a, if you get the opportunity to take advantage of it, it's kind of a treat. And if I had every morning to go do that, I think I would, but I don't. And so it's nice to take advantage of it while the weather's good and I can. So
you still have to wade through the over aggressive herd of deer to get to the lake.
It's not like it used to be, but there are.
I forgot about them.
The town of Joseph is worse than the lake now.
Oh, so town deer.
Yeah, there's a lot more in Joseph, I think. So
better living.
Yeah, they're catching on.
I think they probably get more handouts.
Yeah, then rural deer, they just probably get hung up, and urban deer, they get handouts. So yeah, they become the handouts, so to speak.
So yeah, that's I guess that's my reach around. It's been with this COVID deal starting to pop again. Kel stays on the forefront of that pretty well in the nursing world. Has
So
conversations daily with folks in the industry and reads a lot, and so it's been kind of interesting and curious to me, from an economy standpoint, what is going to take place here over the next month or two, because we're looking at another major shutdown right now, and we don't see it, but they're going to do it.
they're predicting it already, which makes my brain hurt. Like, what?
In the hospital
Ronald,
world,
I got a question. It's
yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You can finish and I'll ask.
Oh, I'm
Is
just.
she more?
Go ahead, Richard.
But
Is she more fearful than the current of the Delta variant than she was of the original?
I'm not gonna say yes, but I think we know more now, and so as far as fearfulness, I don't think so. I think that there's less of the unknown. However, what they're seeing that this new variant or variants are doing is it's got people scratching their heads, from what I understand, is because you've got people that are fully vaccinated that are young, healthy people dying. So that it just brings the question, like, what what the hell's going on, really? But why are we pushing some of the things that haven't worked and continue to not work, and we're not trying to trudge down a different road to find a different method here? So, but from a nursing standpoint, her biggest concern with this variant is that the nursing industry as a whole is completely burnt out, and they are dropping like flies because now they're making a mandatory vaccination deal out of it. And like, she just posted something a little bit ago on Facebook about a town in California where they're striking. The nurses are striking, and we're not. The mandatory deal is not setting well with a lot, because you think about it. I mean, nurses are all collectively an intelligent bunch of people, and they're all tend to be science driven. They have to have a lot of that in their background. Like, they're sitting there going, this doesn't add up. So,
well, then they were shoving them out there, and they were working all last year when we didn't have anything in place, and it was just fine then. So
last year the nurses were the heroes, and this year they're the zeros.
Yeah, you're like, so they were, working without a tightrope last year, so to speak, and you were totally good with that. And now you got some holier than thou point of view, and you're like, well, now you have to do this, and you're like, well, no, like,
yeah, it's. I mean, like Joel said, there's people on both sides of the equation, and a lot of doctors are that way. We have a personal physician that we go to, and she's like, so there's a lot of really educated people in the field of medicine that have a lot of question marks, and I'm going to assume that the powers that be, so to speak, that are the voices and the people that have something to gain from this, are going to push it. I mean, you go back and look at the medical field and the medicine industry itself, and the value of what they're pushing. Like, there's a lot. I mean, it's very complex, but there's a lot more to this than just you need to get the shot because it's going to fix you, because it's not going to fix you.
It's almost like they're desperate.
It reeks of desperation, dude. Like,
think about this, Joel.
I wonder what they know, that they're so desperate that they just can't fucking level with us.
How many vaccines have they made? How many doses have they made out there? Like, billions or millions, hundreds of millions of doses, and that vaccine is sitting there not doing anything, and no money is coming in on that. So if they can't get all these people, there's a lot of money at stake when you start looking at that. Like, there's
government already bought a shit ton of it, though.
Absolutely, but the science isn't backing the drug. I mean,
that was
it
We've
hasn't been.
already established money for nothing, though.
No.
But day one, why is the government funding that to begin with? Why are they even funding that?
Yeah, sorry.
Just saying. I mean, great point though, Mr. Joel. Yeah.
There's a lot of questions out there that and it's interesting because Kelly's a smart person, and she was kind of on board with she studies which side of the fence to ride on that topic as far as the vaccine and whatnot, and she's still not convinced. Like there's things that you need to have in place in order to make this a viable project, so to speak, and it's not there yet, because especially when you've got this new variant coming out and there's people dying from it that are fully vaccinated. So and there's nurses, and that's the ironic part, that they want to mandate this for all the nurses. Well, there's nurses within the hospitals that are fully vaccinated that are contracting the virus. I mean, does it maybe curb some of the side effects of the virus? Maybe, but this thing keeps morphing and morphing, and new variants are coming out.
I would say, like, the statistics right now say absolutely helps, but like we said earlier, it's sort of, or I said, I don't want to accuse you guys of saying something I said, but it's like, it seems to me it's trending in the more and more in the direction of it doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as much as it pains them, they're slowly shifting that narrative.
But right now the data says it does. So I guess that's all we have to go on. But I think it's healthy to doubt them.
How much data is there worth listening to? We've been at this for a year.
Well, there's that, and like, how often do you get these updated numbers after things settle out a bit, or people review, or like, still not buying all the numbers we've seen, honestly, just because of where they came from and why. If you get more money for treating a Rona patient versus a regular one who has respiratory disease, probably going to check that box, man. Just saying.
I might be stating this wrong, but just prior to getting here, Kelly was telling me that their new stats on counting COVID cases, they are not counting vaccinated or unvaccinated unless they're hospitalized or they are deaths. So what's the theory behind that? Like okay, you don't technically have it unless you were hospitalized or you died from it, whether you've been vaccinated or not vaccinated. Like, are they just short of manpower to do all the counting now? I mean, and that's just something that recently came up. So how does that fit into this deal? Yeah, there's a lot of things that are very skewed on this entire topic.
Affirmative. That's all we pretty much know for sure.
I spent the weekend researching it. I'm horrified. It's bad.
What is
this new variant? I think that we might have made it worse.
It's the middle of summer. People getting sick. Of course we fucked it up.
What was the point that guy in that famous Facebook video? He was. I'm seeing more and more of that information about how when you get a vaccine and it goes into your body, and what comes out is a variant.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of his point?
Part of it. There's that, and the fact that it never completely goes away either. That's the other main point. Like, it's not ever going to be completely dead and gone. It might subside because it breeds itself out or becomes susceptible to something, but it's going to be there. Like, again, we've had the flu forever. It's out there. So there's going to be different variations of it. There's been that way for years. There's been different variations. Some years it's worse. Some years it's not as bad. But like it's never going to be zero.
Well, this variant's like we ate apples in 2020, and now we're trying to eat an orange.
Mm-hmm.
It's that different from the original one.
And how does that happen? Like that doesn't usually happen.
So it's interesting.
I gotta
go. Is that what gain of function is?
Grab me a beer, Richard.
Well, gain of function, that's a whole nother thing. That's just cool.
Is that what that means, though? That it gets more and more powerful with every variant?
I'll challenge you to look this up on the internet. and you'll find the articles, but India originally posted that they had 460,000 deaths. They think that number is closer to 3.5 million.
In India?
Yeah, and then you
Because
have to
that's
ask
where it came from, right? Is that what they say?
You have to ask the question, if China was studying gain of function, what race of people would they be most interested in eliminating?
Besides the Mongolians, it would be the Indians.
Yeah, and you're seeing a almost 4 to 6 time increase in the amount of deaths in India per capita population than you are anywhere else in the world.
Huh.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, that's what you say before you go to the bathroom and get a beer.
Jesus Christ! I didn't expect to come on here today and have more conspiracy theories.
He didn't say that was the theory. Well, kind of. I guess he framed it that way a little bit.
I would encourage everybody to look that up themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Always.
Always.
If we're full of shit, please call us out. I think always. That's the whole point of this. That's the point we like to reinforce is, and what we talk about here is we can disagree and still communicate about things and be like, I don't agree with that. And guess what? We're still friends. Like, I don't instantly think you're a moron because of X or Y. I know we already think you're morons anyways, no matter what you say. So, it's like we've lost that ability as a society to be like, look, I disagree with you, but I still respect you.
Is Richard having some milk right now?
I think he's over there getting his own reach around because he just gave her a pretty good whip and then he gave one.
Have to have a carton of milk.
I think he's making
this will gross everybody out.
He's making his own whipped cream. Yeah. You got to get some culture somehow.
Oh, yuck.
Good Lord. That'll make your hair fall out. Oh, sorry. Was that out loud? Damn it. I got to get that filter fixed. I think that's a good place to transition into our entertainment spotlight. We've had our co-hostess with the mostest on standby. She's been, I think, preparing in the wings, as some would say, standing by, ready to wow and dazzle.
Listening quietly.
Yeah, which is really freaking me out, to be honest with you. It just seems, some would say, out of character. So maybe it's just that you're in that still watching and judging phase, which is fine. That's okay.
Yes,
she'll just
definitely
wheel off a list of all our stupidity towards the end. So.
It's just gonna make when she lets loose.
All the better. I would agree.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would agree. So a while back, yeah, exactly. Amy recommended for one of our entertainment spotlights, and people.
Yep, no, Mike is gone. What was your entertainment spotlight there? Oh, Amy's gone. Is Amy gone?
Hey, found it.
God damn it, Richard's leaving now too. Just me and you, Raleigh.
Yeah. What? Well, wow. That went downhill quickly. Sorry, folks out there in live Facebook land, but you're stuck with us two a-holes now.
We're going to talk about the entertainment spotlight. I don't know what it was. Was it a poem or something?
It was a poem, but I don't see our entertainer of the spotlight. So,
Lost power again.
We
lost Amy too.
Yeah, we lost Amy too. So, I guess we'll move on to another segment until we can get them back, huh? What
other segment do we have?
What do you guys want to... Richard, you've got to have
I think Mike is gone permanently.
Hey, I wrote down some things that I was pissed off about today. Dude, my governor resigned.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
yeah. Cuomo resigned today. And I was saying about that specifically, I feel like in the 90s, that would have been like one of the biggest stories of the year. And today, like, it kind of barely registers, right? Like, doesn't matter. Like, nobody here is talking about it that I've witnessed or heard. I went to the bar tonight. Nobody was talking about that. Like in the 90s, that would have been the biggest story, at least for the week, right? And now it's like, yeah, it's nothing.
Well, and there's a little curiosity. I mean, I know nothing about New York politics or Cuomo or anything, but this just seems to have come onto the radar. And why all of a sudden is he looking to be ousted?
Oh,
dude. No, I guess because I am here or I live here, I pay more attention to the local stuff. But I guess I kind of assume that it's national news. But no, there's been a campaign to get him removed for his handling of the old folks' homes during COVID, putting sick patients in the homes, mandating in the homes, led to tens of thousands of those early deaths. But no, the sexual assault allegations came out against him months ago, many months ago. And he denied it. And one of the heads, or maybe even the head of Time's Up, which is that with the women's group about sexual assault. One of the heads of that was like helping him deny it or some shit.
She was helping him get dirt.
She had to resign too.
Yeah, and
what a
basically
scam.
Discredit one of his accusers is what she was doing. Yeah.
Yeah, what a scam. But it's such a good scam in that you're an asshole if you don't support it. But like they're immediately corrupt. Immediately. They've been around for a year and they're already exposed for corruption.
I guess my question is what little tidbits I caught of on the news was, I mean, you've got the likes of Schumer and Biden going against him, and it's like, what's the narrative for getting a new governor in New York? Like, what?
Well, there'll be there's a lieutenant governor or something, isn't there? That will take over.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. It's a woman. Be the first woman governor of New York.
Really?
Yeah. We had a blind black guy before we had a woman.
Oh, that guy was blind, wasn't he? They always made fun of him on SNL.
Yeah. Forget his name.
So the way this is a win for women?
In the way that
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I can see it that way.
By the end of the year, there'll be 2 women who have achieved high-profile positions based on elimination.
based on elimination. Oh yeah.
Whoa. This one.
You heard it here first, kids. Yeah. Well done, Joel. Man. Well done.
Unfortunately, the first has to be an accident.
Yeah.
I mean for that to happen. I don't know. The governor of New York, I mean, people here fucking love that guy. People around the country love him, and I've always found him to be, he's a dirtbag. He's like he's a stereotype. He's so obviously corrupt. Like I don't even remember what the name of the bridge is, but there's one of the bridges that connects Manhattan or Brooklyn or Queens or something. There's not a lot of bridges here. I just never bothered to learn any of their names. But he renamed it the Mario Cuomo Bridge. Mario
After his
Cuomo
dad?
was, yeah. And I don't know. It's like you don't
Don't do that.
taxpayer money and you're deciding that this is going to be the name of a taxpayer funded bridge. Like there was no discussion about it. He's just a criminal. I think they're all going to be eventually criminals in New York.
Probably the first time nepotism has ever played in politics in New York.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Welcome to Sarcasm Theater. Your host, Rich Bradbury. Yeah. I loved so much the other day. They had somebody compiled all, I'll use the term in air quotes, celebrities that were just literally jerking it off and rubbing it in their hair about this Cuomo sexual. That's somebody who was really in love with him. And it was just like a 3.5 minute jerk fest back and forth, all these celebrities, just, oh, how great he is. And it's just like, oh yeah, that did not age. And I couldn't have laughed harder. I think I probably tore something and maybe pooped a little. I was laughing so hard. The guy got an Emmy for the idiocy he pulled off. Like, I just can't even believe it, how corrupt that whole system surrounding him was. And I guarantee you that's the shit that goes on everywhere like that. It's not unique to New York. I guarantee you that. It's probably an extra level of fucked up, but that happens a lot of places. We've seen it all throughout the year.
I want to take this time to plug a really good podcast that comes out daily now. It's Crystal and Cigar called Cigar. It's called Breaking Point, and they used to work on a magazine called The Hill. I guess it's a website.
Yeah.
Anyways, they just went independent so that they no longer get censored. And they've been talking about Cuomo since even back when they were on The Hill. And
so it's called Breaking Point, is that correct?
Yep. It's probably one of the best news programs available right now. And they're talking about a lot of stuff way ahead of the mainstream media. So
cool.
I'd encourage everybody to check that out.
Can you post a link, Richard?
Yeah. But they broke the story about the lady that ran the women's rights or women's justice thing way like 3 or 4 weeks ago, helping Cuomo out so really great podcast.
Actively discrediting his accuser, but not to be a dick, but aren't we supposed to believe all women? I thought maybe. Oops.
Well, I think it's really interesting. I think that this has become a phenomenon because, and like with the Democrats not stepping down, is because Kavanaugh.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the end we might have got a Supreme Court justice, but I think him not getting him, I think it gave him carte blanche to ignore allegations. I think the Democrats have taken that and ran with it.
They were going to anyways, man. I don't agree with that at all. Like they did that before. They're going to do it still. But
it gave him a good excuse to even take it farther, I think.
I guess, but like if you could point to one shred of evidence about anything from Kavanaugh, we would have looked at it. So,
I totally agree.
They were gonna, they wouldn't give a shit about that, anyways. Like Teddy Kennedy fucking killed a woman. She was still in the Senate for God. I mean, like literally drowned a woman because he wrecked, and he was like. Anyways, that's history. We don't need to know about that shit. So, again, sorry I lost you guys again. We lost power. But
we need to go back to our entertainment.
Let's talk about Robert Service.
Yeah, that would be great. As I was setting up so brilliantly, I might add, also, I'll never be able to recapture that magic. That was freaking just studio gold. But anyway, so Cremation of Sam McGee, Amy brought it up. We thought it'd be wonderful if we could talk her into coming on and actually reciting it for us. That poem, Robert Service, in 1907. I knew it was in that early era. I didn't realize it's quite that early. Also, in some of the background research after we agreed on this, I found a great rendition of it by Johnny Cash on YouTube, which I thought was pretty cool. And I know that's what some of Amy's probably inspiration is for her rendition as well. Just gonna guess, but Amy, we thank you for your suggestion of such a great poem. B, for agreeing to come on and put up with us, and it's normal. I know it's all going to come back and haunt us. But C, for doing this as well. I think it's really cool. And folks, if you suggest something and you want to come talk about it, by all means, we'll drag you on. If you have your favorite movie, we all think that's something we should dive into. Hell yeah, I think that'd be fun. So Amy's kind of the groundbreaker on this, blazing some trail. So without any further blabbing before I lose power again, let's kick this off. And Miss McNamee, if you'd like to entertain us with this reading, that would be wonderful.
For one, I think this is probably going to discourage anybody from suggesting anything in the future.
Well, I think we should try to be friendly. I mean, like there's pre-existing conditions here that would behoove us, no matter what you were saying, we would still give you crap. So don't let the fact that
right.
That's already that ship sailed, as some would say. So yes, but
and for two, I was hoping that maybe Richard or Ricardo would recite this instead of me.
I know.
Didn't your sister have this memorized in high school, Richard? Wasn't that a thing? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it was on the Facebook.
Yeah.
She did it at the Elko poetry gathering.
Did she really?
Cool. Very cool.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So I'm probably not that level. nor am I Johnny Cash's level. So there we
Don't
go.
sell yourself short. You're a tremendous star. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got this. Thank you, Amber.
absolutely. The Cremation of Sam McGee by Robert W. Service. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Lavarge. I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the South to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell. Though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold through the parka's fold that stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd closed, then the lashes froze, till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed and the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me, and Cap, he said, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking you that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, it's the cursed cold and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clear through to the bone. Yet tain't being dead. It's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. A pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail. And we started on at the streak of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched on the sleigh. He raved all the day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, you may tax your brawn and brains, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate those last remains. Now, a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were dumb, in my heart, how I cursed that load. In the long, long night by the lone firelight, where the huskies round in a ring howled out their woes into the homeless snows. Oh God, how I loathed the thing. And every day that quiet clay seemed to heavy and heavier grow. And on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad, and I felt half mad, but I swore I'd not give in. And I'd often sing to that hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin, till I came to the marge of Lake Lavarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw in a trice that it was called the Alice May. And I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then here, I said with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared, and the furnace roared. Such a blaze you seldom see. And I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out, and they danced about ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peep inside. I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked, and the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heat of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile you could see a mile. And he said, please close that door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plumtree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge. And I cremated Sam McGee. There you go.
If I was wearing pants, I would give you a standing ovation right now. Yes.
Put your pants on.
You're not the boss of me. Yes.
Well,
Amy, well done. I'm impressed you could read it from that far away. That was really cool. Yeah.
Well, I did not take the time to memorize it because cows and banking and stuff.
But I could tell you knew it already. You know, there was a when somebody can still keep going and casually flip the page and then jump right back, that's always a good sign. You know, it's not like the third grade book report. So then the Sam McGee was queer to the yeah. So very well done. I think you set the bar for anybody to come read or do something else, which is awesome. I think we'll keep encouraging that. But even for somebody who drinks a White Claw, I think that was pretty damn good.
Hey, don't judge.
Hey,
Keto,
I just say this world was pretty square away till that seltzer shit started coming around. I'm just saying. Strong correlation. Or buttermilk. Yeah. So yeah.
In training for fermented mare's milk.
There you go. Yes. That's called, I can't remember what that's called, but yeah, it's quite interesting. Awesome. Again, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on and doing that. That means a lot. So now another word from our sponsor, our good friends at B&K Auto. You know, with social distancing rules either still in effect or maybe coming back into effect, or maybe you're just not comfortable going outside, but you still need a part. Here's what you can do. You can still call up your good friends at B&K. If they've got it, you can order right over the phone. You can even pay over the phone. You just roll up, they'll have it ready to go, minimum contact. Or I think for a lot of the Reacher fans out there, especially, if you like to go there and just pull your own and walk around a bit and just kind of experience the junkyard in a one-on-one fashion, come on out for some good old-fashioned junkyard fun. And either way, if you want to pull your own or have somebody else do it for you, promo code Malarkey. That's right, Malarkey. That's going to get you a discount on those parts. And again, if you got some scrap laying around, if you're cleaning up the place, if it's a recurring thing, get a hold of the gang. They can bring out a bin. You're going to get a bump in the scrap rates. So you can't hardly go wrong. Either you're buying or selling. Either way, you're making money when you're working with B&K. So we thank them so much for all they do for us. And we're proud to be associated with them. And I think every once in a while, they like us too, which is making me, nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. So that takes us to our section about the Far Reach's word of the week. Again, this is sort of like, you spin the big wheel on prices, right?
I feel like we moved over that poem really quick. That was an excellent poem.
You want to talk about it some more?
Yeah, has that ever been made into a song? That would have been an excellent Willie Nelson song.
Oh, could have been.
Does anybody know? Is that a well-known poem?
I don't think it's
it painted such a great picture of a
great story,
like a movie in your head.
I don't know. It's been on a lot of albums, though.
What do you mean?
A lot of people have recorded it.
Like they play it to music, or they just read it?
Like Shatner does, kind of thing, or
spoken word, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it was kind of part of our high school curriculum. I mean, in our part of the world, anyway. As much as the Jack London book, but would it be now?
No, not at all. No, it says queer.
Yeah.
Well, he's a poet laureate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but doesn't mean
I don't know for which president though.
So he died in Waka Waka. When was that? Did I lose my Wikipedia page? I think I did. He died in what, 57? Is that correct? I think.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
He was actually pretty old. Where's my?
Didn't he die? Did he die in Spain?
Perhaps.
Did he?
1874 to 1958 was Mr. Service's lifespan. So numerator carried the one. So not terribly old, but he was
79.
Yeah, full life. So
he
yeah,
wrote two poets. He wrote two books of poems.
Mhm.
The Song of the Yukon and the Ballad of the Ambulance Man, which I believe. Go ahead.
Was he part of the Lincoln Brigade?
Yes, I believe so.
Mhm.
Okay.
But it would have been later in his life. So
Right.
it'd have been in his 60s. So he and I believe that he and Ernest Hemingway worked for the Toronto Star at the same time.
Did they?
Oh, that's a cool deal.
That's
Lincoln Brigade, huh?
You know what that is, Joel?
No, I do not. No, I'm Googling it.
Before World War II, when Mussolini was a dictator and helping Hitler, a bunch of Americans went over and formed the Lincoln Brigade against the wishes of the country. So they were really the first people to go over and oppose fascism.
Yeah.
And they did it illegally. And they if you were in America, you went over to Spain and you served in the Lincoln Brigade. Robert Service just drove an ambulance during that time for the Red Cross. So I think that he wasn't in the Lincoln Brigade, but he was there for the. Anyways, Hemingway covered the Lincoln Brigade, and I actually met a guy that was in the Lincoln Brigade that at Eastern, who was really influential in forming some of the early unions, and he told a great story about Hemingway. But just a amazing class of people. Their politics probably wouldn't always line up as conservative, but they basically left the United States to go and fight something that they believed in, and were fugitives for many years until the Americans got back in the war. And there's just this entire interesting cast of characters that were part of the Lincoln Brigade.
It took some heavy casualties too, from the numbers I remember, as far as the volunteers that got hammered. Amy, I forgot to ask you why you suggested that.
I figured you guys would take it and run with it. Quite frankly.
Poetry? You thought we'd be like, oh yeah, here's some fucking poetry on your plates.
That's hilarious.
Enjoy
well, if it's going to be
Richard.
poetry, it might as well be interesting. And
Talk about your all-time backfires. Yeah.
Yes.
That's funny. No, we all just appreciate it. It was like, cool.
I'll run with it. I would say that he influenced my writing.
Yes.
And the other thing, and all this is when I was in 7th grade, I was exposed to Robert Service really young with Cowboy Sonny Hancock. He had a really good friend that would act out the entire poem, like dragging the guy in the sled. And it was just an amazing show. And I remember watching it in the Memorial Hall here in Lakeview. And then again, I saw it somewhere. And Jesse, I can't remember his last name, darn it. Anyways, that was before I even started reading Robert Service. And he had some, like The Men That Don't Fit In. There's a whole poem about electrocuting each other, two guys electrocuting each other in a cabin in the Yukon. Just this amazing body of work. And then if you get to the songs, the Ballad of the Ambulance Man, there's just a real melancholy tone. It doesn't have the frivolity of the songs of the Yukon, but just an amazing poet. And I think that one of the most underrated American poet laureates, I think, and really a working class poet. Like, he told blue collar stories, which is odd, and really dynamic pentameter really matched his stanzas. If you follow it out, it's not free flow poetry. It's real. It's structured poetry.
Absolutely.
I guess I can't say real poetry, but I would say that Robert Service and Jack London were influential in me being fascinated with what was going on in North Dakota in the early 2000s, and they're like 2010.
Sure.
And I never in a million years that I would have the opportunity to have that type of an adventure. And when I got to North Dakota and I saw the boom and all the stuff that went with it, I deeply appreciating being there at that time in history, because it wasn't the Yukon gold rush, but it's the closest thing our generation will ever have to it. And so I just really felt like I was walking around in a Robert Service poem, or I was walking around in a Jack London, and it just made it all that more a valuable experience to me. And I was a big Robert Service fan then, but when you experience something like what happened in North Dakota and you read Robert Service, it just hits a different tuning fork, and it really resonates with your soul. And to be in North Dakota for 10 years and to be in Midland a little bit, to see those boom towns firsthand and experience them, those two men really captured the essence of a boom. And it's something that a lot of people will only get to read about.
You can certainly see that in your writing as well, Richard. So it's interesting that you brought that up or confirmed it, if you will. But always enjoyed reading what you write, and every day I think you get better when you don't think you can, which is awesome. But I definitely see a lot of that parallel. It's so cool. So I thank you for sharing that, and always encourage you to keep hammering on it as well, because it does read really well, and you capture that spirit pretty good too. So I didn't mean to jump into a reach around, but
thank you
for what it's worth. Yeah. So yeah. Rawls, you're sitting out on your porch eating some jerky or something, I guess. Any thoughts on it? There we go.
Kind of a nice evening.
You bastard. Yeah.
It just came outside and sit down for a little bit.
God, does that kill anybody else when that happens? Can anybody else hear that? Like Raleigh's microphone scrapes across a running belt sander or something, and it makes me pee. It sounds just, I've peed 3 times now.
No, you're welcome.
I think it's just because I'm getting old. But anyways, yeah.
No, I really enjoyed listening to that. That's I guess. It's always been kind of intriguing.
Bill's talking to voicemail or something over there.
Oh, I was wondering.
I thought you were getting feedback or something.
No. Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, your test results are in. Yeah.
That's my cousin's father-in-law. We get along real well. I really like him. He's calling me, leaving me messages. I think it's funny.
Cool. That's hilarious. Oh, we're getting some great feedback on Facebook Live too. Opie says, I'd listen to her over Johnny Cash any day. I think he's referring to you, Amy.
Wow.
Civicus says,
it's I agree. A little hyperbolic.
Richard's writing is exceptional. Doc Pfister says, preach it, Bradbury. And Civicus also just chimed in, Rawls seems to be in constant need of nourishment. And so
feed him.
Civicus is one of our dear friends from high school who's exceptionally observant and intelligent. So I have to giggle at her comment because, yeah.
Hard to keep a fat kid fat.
Turns out your belly button's rubbing on your backbone. Yeah. So as Richard's plowing through a peach or something right now, or apricot. What is that?
Apricot.
Yeah.
3-year-old took a bite out of it and put it back in the bag.
I wonder where he learns that at. Yeah. Like, as you're drinking buttermilk out of the carton. Yeah.
We also took our civilization and etiquette lessons from Jack London and Robert Service.
There's that too, yes. and Gus and Woodrow. Yeah. So which that's what I thought about when talking about burying your partner and a promise as a debt unpaid, I thought about Lonesome Dove when Gus and Woodrow, and Woodrow makes a promise to Gus to take him back to Texas to bury him. And so I equated like the cremation and the hot, that's Texas, and the whole thing about dragging him back. So that's where my mind went. And I don't know how much influence that might have had on Mr. McMurtry when he was putting that together, but given the time frame and ages, it might have been some undertones for sure.
I think that Robert Service did such a wonderful job in capturing that little sliver of time. And it's so unique to have it in a poetry form that I think it probably impacted lots of people, just like Hemingway did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think more so because it was a poem and not a quote unquote short story or drug out for, it lends itself to that because of the context, I think.
I've never really compared the two, but yes, I think, and that's what's interesting about Hemingway style too, is he's so vivid in the pictures he paints. Like The Sun Also Rises, mm-hmm. you see the bullfighting. It just, maybe that was a function of the time or them working together, is how vividly they can paint a picture.
There was
in
no
a very simple
TV
way.
Yeah. They were TV, basically. Like when they
yes.
talked, when they wrote, like they had to paint that picture, I think. I mean, obviously they were just very skilled also, but I think you nailed it when talking about that time frame also. Like that's what they had to do. It had to be that level.
Well, at the time, the best writers in the world worked at the Toronto Star.
Yes.
And they were two of their best writers.
Mm-hmm. Crazy Canadians. Just saying. I say that every day. Not really any context usually. So
good pick, McNamee, because hands down, I could talk about Robert Service for 3 podcasts.
Yes. And then we could start on Hemingway.
Oh, great. Oh, geez. Papa. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. You just think about, I'm just going to do this because it's what my soul tells me to go do. You think about that guy, really, I think. And I'm like, damn it. So,
well,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Think about London, Hemingway, and Service all wrote beautiful stanzas at a 4th to 5th grade level.
Yes.
So easily. Oh, great point.
They're so easily accessible by so many generations and so many different education levels that everybody can go to the well to get a really great life-changing story. I mean, one of the things I remember most, anytime anything stuck, I remember about Buck and White Fang and the way that you get a sled loose. It's left, right, and forward, and the sled's loose. And that the way that whole 3 or 4 pages was written was just beautiful. And the whole story of Buck is amazing. And I've never seen a movie do it justice.
No.
Does the man in the red sweater ever leave your mind's eye? I mean, that's a piece out of that book that you just don't forget. So, and I think I go back to Hemingway's one of my favorite writers, and I go back to my library at Hemingway, and I pick up those books and I read them again and again. And there's things that you draw out of them every time at whatever position you are in your life. That's
totally. Yes. Because you're like paralleling that or something like rings true and you're like, that's what that means. That means that to me now, that's so cool.
I hate to jump off early, guys, but I got to go bail. Hey.
So you're going to go bail so you can go bail? Is that what you're saying? Do you have a movie for us, Rawls?
No, I don't.
Okay. We'll figure something out.
Okay.
Safe travels, man. Thanks a lot, Rawls. Good to see you. Bye. All right. Later, man. Poor balls. Away he goes. Bailing to go bail. And then there were 4. So sorry. Yeah, Aim, totally agree. There's been some statements lately I've read or whatever. And I was like, it just completely hits me different because of whatever I'm doing now or at that moment. It's so cool. especially with him. But yeah, it's outstanding. Oh goodness. Sorry, I had a moment there. Any other comments? I'm sorry, I just totally blasted over that. I guess got so excited about word of the week, and I was like, well, how are we going to top Amy just reading that to us? Let's just get the hell out of here. So
one more Robert Service thing is that it has another juncture with history. You have to think that it was Service's writing that compelled Wyatt Earp to go to Alaska.
Time frame? Yeah, I would agree. Wow. Damn, Richard. I thought I was all smart with my freaking Lonesome Dove idea. And then you're like, whoosh. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I think it probably, yeah. In what year did North to Alaska come out? Even 50s? Yeah. The movie, I'm thinking about the movie, not Big Sam left Seattle. Maybe there's a correlation. I don't know. I'm on to you, mister.
Yeah.
It could be. Very cool stuff. Yeah, I think we'll probably circle back. And I know I don't like that phrase anymore because some people have completely ruined it. So I know we will revisit some of that as well.
There's another great poet that, if you really want to get a piece of Americana, that we should visit sometime, and that's Patrick Clark.
Oh, dude. Damn. Thank you.
He only achieved the poet laureate of South Dakota, but I think he's still the reigning South Dakota poet laureate.
I think so. And I'm not as familiar with him, but I definitely have heard of him and some of his stuff, I believe, too. So
I think the Cowboy Sprayer of His Mother is one of the most enduring poems ever written.
Very much so. Damn cool. Yeah. Damn cool.
Well, I've exposed myself as a giant poetry dork now.
We were just able to tack dork onto that, really, and I think there's worse ways that you've exposed yourself in other ways before anyway. So I think the fact that we're moving up to exposing as a poetry dork, we're all pretty proud of that. Yeah. So,
making progress, Richard.
This is what we call growth. I think we've seen it all here live, folks. It's quite beautiful. So I'm sorry, was that all out loud too? I do apologize. Yes. So in case you might have heard, and we're talking to the folks live too. Anybody that's live on Facebook, since Mr. Rawls had movie of the week, but it was short notice for him and he had to bail to go bail. If anybody's got a suggestion, you can bust it on the comments there. Down below, we've been watching some of the back and forth. And so talking to you, Doc Pfister. I'm talking to you, Cibicus, Opie.
Let's get some good sci-fi.
Yeah, Spoon, you got anything out there? Spoon, you got to have something for us, brother. Yeah, let's get something.
Come on, Jake.
We're not saying we're going to take it, but we're certainly going to review it. So, but first one to get that busted a move. Yeah, first one. I'm going to throw this out there right now. First person to get a suggestion for an entertainment spotlight on the comments is going to get a free bag of Wallowa River Sand seasoning, compliments of Jimmy at Wallowa River Sand and the Far Reaches podcast. So that's your call out. If you want to try some of the great seasoning, be the first one to get a suggestion, something viable too, not like read your third grade poem that we can dig into. So we're gonna call you out. We're waiting for it. So let's see what you got, kids. And look at this. We got Spoon. Spoon just busted out Field of Dreams.
Ooh.
Which is pretty apropos because I believe coming up this weekend or next is the Yankees are playing somebody at that field. Baseball.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So I don't know if Spoon meant to be that topical or not, but Jacob, congratulations. You, if you want to, you're going to be cordially invited to come on and talk about Field of Dreams. You've got some Wallowa River Sand coming your direction. And we're going to do that one. So well done, Mr. Spoon. I didn't mean to wake you up, but thank you so much. Spoon is a loyal listener. First time listener, long time caller, I would put him under. So yeah.
And a dedicated critic.
We need to see if we can make up those different badges, like congratulations, you've been designated as a designated critic on the Four Reaches. I think that would be awesome.
Biggest sarcasm.
Yeah.
Biggest,
Designated critic. Did you say dedicated or designated? I don't remember. Designated? Dedicated, I think. Yeah. Dedicated critic. Yeah. I think him and Big D in Amarillo area probably are two greatest critics that we encounter. But yeah, it's pretty good.
It's good to have people keep you grounded.
Joel suggested the Notebook. Joel, you're fired. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I like the Notebook. And if you want some Allow River Sand, I can send you some as well. But yeah, I like the Notebook because of Rachel McAdams. That's why. You could put it on mute and just watch that. So just saying. So Spoon, thanks for playing along. That was beautiful. We're going to skip to our word of the week again. It's funny how these show up in my world, but this one again was just sort of like spinning the random word generator, and it's sort of apropos on several fronts, if you will. But the word of the week is cajole, CAJOLE, and it's not necessarily about you, Mr. Joel, but I'm sure at times you have implemented this to your success. So cajole. If anybody has any thoughts, comments.
People up.
To deceive by flattery and to coax. So example, maybe you're chatting up some gal about her shoes or her dress or etc., or your buddy you're trying to get concert tickets out of, or etc. And so I giggled because many of our conversations surrounding up till now were definitely talking about how we feel we're being cajoled to do certain things we don't really want to. So it's not necessarily by flattery, but it is by coaxing. So it just made me laugh. Yeah.
I thought it was what people talked about when Joel went to the bathroom at the Rainbow.
Could be.
Like,
yeah.
People talk so much shit at the Rainbow. When I leave that table, I'm like, I don't know.
That's awesome. I mean, you probably deserve it. So you miss the
those
Rainbow.
fucking losers, man.
I was just gonna say you miss it, don't you? Yeah. And they miss you. Did you leave anybody your pickup to drive around while you're gone, or what's going on with that?
Tell him he could drive it if he wants to.
Who? Does anybody else like miss the part when he gives the answer?
I always miss the first part of whatever
Okay.
it is he's saying.
I know. And usually I don't care, but I wanted to know. Again, like do like 3, 2, 1. My brother Brian. Is that what you said?
Big Daddy,
Yeah.
as you call him.
See.
Mileage on my app. I have an app that says how many miles it's driven, and
Does he know that? Well, he does now, I guess. He'll listen to this podcast 3 months from now and be like, oh shit. Yeah. So
in front of his house, from my app, I could sound the alarm. I should just do that.
oh, that'd be a great idea.
Traffic jam in
That
Pendleton.
would be a great idea. Yeah. Or just can you start it from your app too? Yeah, that would be super funny. But he's like, did I start the pickup? I thought I turned it off. What the crap? Yeah, he's coming out of Safeway. Like, that could be fun, really. Especially if you had a GoPro camera on that thing.
You need to conspire with his kids and then have them call you when he's leaving the house and then start your pickup as he's leaving.
The horn and start it.
Of course, we just said this on a public podcast, so it's not going to be a surprise.
Not effective now.
But he's usually 3 or 4 weeks behind on listening anyway. So it's a good month of entertainment before it happens. And I can tell you from personal experience, like, so in college, I made a copy of our roommate Chris's key to his pickup. And for a whole like semester, I would move his pickup down like 2 spots where he parked it, or maybe on the other side of the street, but it was always really kind of close to where he parked. But the whole, like, it was spring term, like the whole. So the last day of spring term, he's packing up. He's headed back to where he was from, and we're saying our howdies and our goodbyes. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I don't need the ski to your pickup anymore. And I throw it back to him, and he just literally crumbles in front of me. He's like, oh my God. I thought I was losing my absolute mind, So for me,
that was what made him lose his mind.
Many other things, I'm sure, as well. But for me, it was highly entertaining because I had a class that faced out that window when he would be leaving school. And so Chris would come bebopping out, and he would just be like, and then he'd go get in his truck, and I'd be crying, laughing. So like the whole spring term, I had that entertainment, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday for my 4 to 5 class, was watching Chris, like, not knowing exactly where his pickup was at. So yeah, I probably caused some damage, but it was fun playing the long game. And the best $2 I ever spent on a key copy as well. So
I think
Chrissy,
he was damaged before he got there.
There might have been some pre-existing conditions, but I can guarantee you we did not help any of those at all. So if there was any cracks, they turned into deep fractures when we got done. But Chrissy, we love you. But yeah, he did melt down a little bit.
I wonder if he still likes waffles.
Joel, he just loved Eggo waffles. Like, that's what this guy lived on, was freaking Eggo waffles. And so when we'd be out shopping, we'd be feeling nice, like, hey, let's get Chrissy a box of waffles. That's a good idea. Yeah, because he'd come get us because he wasn't 21 yet. Sometimes he'd come pick us up, or we just felt bad. Like, hey, there's some Eggos. Let's get Chrissy some Eggos. So that got tied in inadvertently with the movie Multiplicity, when the guy's like, I got a wallet, I like pizza, when we would do that, except for I got a wallet, I like waffles, so we had that going as well with the waffles. So I still can't walk by a box of Eggos and not crack up and think about, I got a wallet, I like waffles. Yeah. So. I totally forgot about that too, Aim. I appreciate
when you
that
make
reminder.
a copy of a copy.
Yeah, exactly. Because there was all of us in the house that really resembled some of that too. Like, one of our roommates was extremely anal, and he was like the chef one, like tuck, tuck, fold, tuck, tuck, fold. That's how I remember. It's tuck, tuck, fold, And then it was like me was this kind of the crazy gruff construction guy, and then Chrissy was the copy of the copy of the copy, like shaving his tongue, and like number 3 or whatever they called him. So yeah, Multiplicity was the movie of the house. It was freaking hilarious. Yeah, I totally forgot about that too.
Now we know which movie we were doing for the White House reunion.
Yes, Multiplicity.
3
When are we
movies.
doing
Because
that?
that was almost
one of those
pre.
Multiplicity.
That was pre. What was that, Joe?
Amazon that I just bought.
Dude, I don't know what's up with your speakers, man, but like, you talk and then it comes on. Yeah, seriously. But it's got to be good. You bought something. Did you just buy Multiplicity? Is that what you said?
3 movies on Amazon, and one of them is Multiplicity.
Oh, cool. Have you seen it before?
One of my favorite childhood movies.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Because that was kind of pre-White House almost too. That was like Island City House, where a lot of that was rolling. Which there's a whole bunch of good stories for Island City House too. But yeah. Amy, we're gonna leave that one right there.
When is this reunion happening, by the way?
I don't know. The White House reunion?
Yes.
I don't know. We need to get that cracking because I think it's mandatory. That's gonna like the Brady Bunch home screen when we get that one fired up. That's gonna be.
Have we ever sat down and counted how many people cycled through that house?
McDave and I did at one time, and it was, I think, approaching 30, if I'm not mistaken. I think we counted the Brit for sure as a person that lived there. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, it was a pile. Like, I'll have to ask McDave. We counted it up at one time, but it was 20 to 30 people.
Fat Ty Olson.
F. Ty Olson for sure. Yeah. And Trent, remember when you guys first met? You know, like
Yep.
Britt, I think we counted Floppy because he was there.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Did he count?
Floppy couldn't count, but he did count for that. Yeah. So, but then yeah, Clint Sexton and Chris Boholt, and you know, yeah, there was
Dig
for sure. Yeah, there's like 8 of us right now that still play fantasy football. So
she's a foundation member.
Yeah, she's plank owner, as they would say in the military. So yeah,
but
who was it?
I still, one of my favorite White House experiences was I was gone for the summer and was returning the next year and came home during the middle of the summer and walked in and there was a random person on the couch. I'm like, hello. And they're like, hey, and sort of looking at me like, why are you in my house? And I'm like,
why are you in my house?
Where's I don't know who was living there over the summer. I think Dave was. I was like, where's Dave? And she goes, oh, he's up in class. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, I'm just gonna go up to my room now. And she's like, oh, you live here?
I was thinking about
the best part is I never saw that person again in my life.
Yeah. That's all they needed. Yeah, that was well, now I keep thinking there's a lot more White House memories coming back. The house tour was one of them, but the one I was thinking about beforehand was the upstairs window had been broken with like a slingshot or something, and we kept telling the landlord, and then eventually she just stopped caring about it apparently. So a few of us are like, well, we're just not paying rent until the window gets fixed, and it was like months and months and months because we all paid rent independently to the lady that owned the house. And so it came out one day that we weren't paying rent, and there was like 1 or 2 people that still were. I think Couch Monkey was one of them. He's like, what? You guys aren't paying rent? We're like, no, we're not paying rent until they fix the window in Digger's room. I've been paying rent. Oh, well, I guess you missed that meeting when we all decided we weren't paying anymore. Yeah, like in the tape on the door when then we got to go. I think we just lost Joel because he doesn't care about White House stories.
Yeah.
But we got notice that the landlord was showing the house to potentially sell it.
Oh, we lost Richard.
He'll be back. And we're like, oh shit. And remember when we were like,
we gotta go.
What's that?
I got 9% battery left.
Oh, okay. Well, we're just teasing those stories for the regular White House reunion. So there's a plethora. There's going to be people that remember stuff there that we don't even know that they were there. So what about the chicken ranch? Oh, good memories of the chicken ranch. Spoon. Good memories of the chicken ranch. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you guys streaming with us. We appreciate the comments. Spoon, we're going to talk to you about Field of Dreams, and I need to get your address again for the river stand. I think I still have it from the Christmas card, but maybe not. But we're going to wrap this one up, and thank you everybody for coming on again. Amy, thank you so much for being a part of this one and doing a stellar job, actually, on not that I'm surprised in the most remote way, but we deeply appreciate that. Richard, thanks for getting out of your plastic handcuffs and making it here to be part of this as well. So until then, we're going to see all you kids next time. And as we're always fond of saying, keep on reaching. So we'll see you soon.